आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणाम् आकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु नितरामितरानपि क्षमं कृत्वयं निगमशाखिशिखाप्रवालं भैरम्बम् अम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनित्यं विज्ञातिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरन्नः सर्वेषां स्वागतं. This is the Saṃskāra session for the 16th shloka. So 16th shloka elaborates the nature of karma and then concludes by saying tyajet tasmat Tyajet karyam asheshatah sudhihi. So here we are talking about karmatyaga only. Karmatyaga is extremely important. Why it is, how it is, because like we have discussed, karma also finds a place in Vedas. And when we are talking about karma in general, not even Vaidika karmas, when we are talking about kriyas, there are opposite understanding of the Gitas. That is Bhagavad Gita, where in the 6th chapter, where Krishna specifically says, we should not give up these karmas. There, what is happening? What is the concept? What is the process? If we have to give up karma has to be given up, and then we says no, you should not give up. There is a confusion. The process is confused. So therefore, we are trying to simplify that through establishing a particular technique. What is that? When we are talking about the two ashramas, that is, when we are talking about the Grahastha ashrama and then Brahmacharya ashrama, karmas must be given first preference. Because we haven't reached a state where our mind is settled enough for jnana. Therefore, there we are only talking about understanding what is required, that is sadhana. What dridha chitta, for that we need to do certain kriyas, we need to get understanding of certain dharmas. So therefore, it is extremely important for us first to do the kriyas. And therefore, at that point of time, we have to make sure when we do the kriyas also, we have to take transfer that I've already spoken about this. There is Ishvara Prasada and Ishvara Samarpana Bhavana. Associating yourself with the karma is where the problem occurs, because that is what is leading to that incur of sin, that thought, all that comes only when we attach ourselves to it. Otherwise it makes no difference. If it doesn't matter to me, do I really care whether what I'm doing is incurring sin or is creating punya? It doesn't matter to me. So therefore, being indifferent is extremely important. Even when we do karma, that is helpful. It is not helpful as in it is not something that we can that samuchaya cannot happen even at that point of time, because like we have already established gahana karmano gatihi, it may not mean something to you, but then it has a way of coming around. So therefore, when we have to indulge in the karmas, that is when the first two ashramas, there we are doing our karmas. After we are doing our karmas only we can give them up. So at that point of time, it is important for us to use this Ishvara Samarpana Bhava and Ishvara Prasada Bhava to avoid attachment to the karmas. What is this doing? Why? The nature of karma is pretty simple. Karma leads to priya apriya karyas, and then that leads to dharma adharma karyas, and that leads to another sharira, that leads to another karma, and etc 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 etc. There is a wheel. Now, by detaching ourselves, that means by doing nishkama karma, what we are doing is we are avoiding further convulsions. That means new shariras being born from that karma. So that circular motion of karma is being avoided over there. That's all. It is still not the equivalent to attaining jnana. This is purely the Advaita understanding of it. So this text is primarily through that. So they say that we cannot attain, there is no superior, there is no equivalence to jnana yoga. So therefore, karma tyaga is a must. And in this text also, see, anashritah karma palam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha naniragnir na chakriyah. We cannot give up He who performs this bounded duty without depending on the fruits of actions. Karyam karma karoti yaha. That person is a sannyasi who has renounced the karma phalas, but he is still doing the karmas. So this is important. When we are doing the karma, we need to give up the attachment to karma phalas. This is extremely important. And even in the 18th chapter also, nahi deha prita shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagityabhidhiyate. So there also the mention is simply that when we are doing that karma, there when we start to detach ourselves from the karma phala, that karma tyaga is possible. There is where we have to start. So how do we attain the state of karma tyaga? What is the technique needed for it? That is mentioned in these texts. They are saying karma is also important, jnana is also important in different phases. There is no equivalency for them. Medicines, talking about a human body, medicines may not mean much to cure me when I have an ailment at a young age, because immunity power of the body is high. I'm able to fight off a common cold without any medicines. I'm able to get cure myself of fever. I don't need any medicines. But as we age, medicines, the help of medicines might be required. So there, what happens is, even though this karma and jnana are important, both of them are important, but they are not important together. That means we cannot give them the same priority at the same time. When I am a samsari, I have to give more importance to karmas. When I am a sannyasi, or when I'm going towards that vanaprastha and then sannyasa, then I have to give more preference towards atmajnana. In this process, this transference can only happen when karma tyaga takes place. How do I achieve that karma tyaga? I need to achieve it only through detachment, nishkama karma. And this nishkama karma has to be practiced through the first two phases, that is ashramas. Maybe somewhere between the second and the third is the transference happens. Where the first one, brahmacharya ashrama, I'm learning it, I'm not able to understand what detachment is. When grihastha occurs, at that point of time, we start to understand the nature of karma, because it is leading to a new karmas. Grihastha is the best example where karma leads to another karma. Karma leads to another sharira, it leads to another karma, etc., etc., etc. That Chakravati Iryate can be very much explained through, very much experienced in Grihastha. So that is where the detachment must start. Not reacting any violently to anything, aggressively to anything. These kind of things. Controlling our expectations from these karmas. Then totally, when the grihastha completes and vanaprastha is going to take place, that's where we need to give priority to jnana. Therefore, I have to detach. I've been practicing detachment. I am not detached yet. Now I have to actively give up karmas from vanaprastha. Then I'm going to reach yanneti neti. That is the giving up, negation. Through negation, I have to give up the karmas. Then I'm going to be eligible for sannyasa. So this is how karma tyaga has to be given up. Karma tyaga takes place. So it is a process, and it is a detailed process. It is not something that confuses anyone. It's just that nobody is practicing nowadays, and therefore it is complicated to understand. But here the point being, karma has to be done through a detached sense, only because it gives rise to aham bhava. There is a sense of ego that it invokes. Therefore, we need to be away from it. That, and what helps us along with that, that is Sharanagati, Guru Sharanagati, not Guru Sharanagati, because Guru Sharanagati has a specific understanding when we reach the end of um, Vanaprastha. But here, Sharanagati to higher power or Ishvara Samarpana Bhavana. Having that is extremely important. So, again, in Bhagavad Gita also there is a mention. Um, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smarati Nityashah Tasyaham Sulabhav Partha Nitya Nityayuktasya Yoginaha. So, which kind of yogi? That yogi who has attained steadfast mind. That means calmness of mind. Through what? Through thinking of me. We cannot indulge in continuous thought of our higher power when we are in samsara. Therefore, what we do, we make him nimitta and we remind him every time we can, and therefore samarpana of our karyas is a good way to understand him. So only to that person he will he will be able to attain the true jnana. Here true jnana is nothing but realization of Parabrahman. So here Ananya Cheta Satatam, when Krishna is saying, I'm going to be easily accessible to that person, Ananya Cheta, that person who has the proper mind, one who is Satatam, continuously thinking about me, Smarati Nityashaha, finding a nimitta, that's all. Finding that nimitta to think about a higher power. Tasyaham Sulabhav Partha. To him it's easy for it becomes easier for me to for him to reach me. So that is the reason why the thought of Ishvara Prajna, understanding the concept of a higher power, comes at a very young age. We don't need to think of realization Atma Jnana at a young age, but the thought of Ishvara, that there is a higher power, that has to be put in mind. That is very important. So, and then the sannyasi can only be that person who can give up karmas. Karma tyaga becomes very important, and therefore he has to start practicing nishkama karma. Only then karmas can be given up, because there won't be any expectations from it. So, with this is the samskara session for the 16th shloka. So, with this, we end the 16th shloka samskara session. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।